3, 2, 1, go.
Look at that little fish
3,
swimming
2, 1,
around.
go. Are you ready? Are you
Yes.
ready to read some crazy reviews?
Yeah.
I have to show them pictures of what we're talking about, because the pictures of what we're going to talk about right now first are crazy enough to begin with, much less the actual reviews. So this good evening, everyone. We're just getting started. There's probably some ads popping up for some folks. Just a quick reminder while people are doing the ad thing that remember to let the ads play for 30 seconds. They don't count if you don't let them play. If you click the skip ad button the second it comes up, you take that away. It doesn't count anymore. So please let them play for 30 seconds if they're that long. Sometimes you get shorter ones and you just let them play till they're done. Don't forget to click the like button if you like watching our videos. Click the subscribe button if you want to get notifications when we go live. It's free. It's not a paid subscription. It's a subscription to our channel, so you can continue to follow us. And
it's just like a follow button here on the book.
Click the bell if you want to get notifications when we go live. Is that all? Are those all the things?
Sure.
Share if you find it funny tonight.
Like, share, subscribe.
How many people? How many of everyone who's here? How many of you watched the video that I posted on the Zen Zone today? The clip from when Aaron and I went live on Zen Zone the other night of Aaron's
outburst,
fever.
My outburst.
His feverish outburst. How many of you actually saw that? Patty says, I just did. I rolled laughing. Karen says, yep, I watched it. It was funny. That's a great clip. If you didn't see it, it's over on the Zen Zone page. Leslie says, that was a setup.
It was. I've been had.
We had a lot of fun with that. It was so out of character for Aaron. He's normally so proper and so, we're not saying anything risque. And then he blurts out stuff like that. So go figure. But tonight, Aaron and I were laying in bed this morning, and I don't know, how did we end up looking?
I don't know. You just started reading them to me. I don't know. Oh no, you saw a guy doing a review on that.
Oh yes, I saw a man eating this snack. So we have a bunch of snacks to try, and there's this one snack in particular. They're baby crabs, and it looks like, here, I'll show you guys what it looks like. They look like this.
Let me see.
Hold on, Anna. Let's show our friends. Can you guys see that? They're baby crabs. It's kind of hard to tell what it is, but they're little itty bitty baby crabs that have been like dried and turned into an Asian snack. And I've been trying to get a hold of them for a long time, but like they're always sold out because they kind of went viral for people making videos of them. And so, yeah, I was laying there and I just decided to look at the reviews, I guess. I started reading them to Aaron in funny voices, and he was like, oh, we're doing that tonight for the live. So that's what we thought we would do with you guys tonight, is read these Amazon reviews. Of
You
these.
then, me then, Daddy.
Yeah. Here's another picture. Let me show you of this woman holding one. See that? Little crab guys that you eat, and they're crunchy. So
they're little soft shell crabs, like when they're just freshly molted, and then the shells haven't hardened.
Okay, so here's the first review that you guys were just looking at. She says, it's 1 star. She says, it's an experience, a bad one. They're crunchy. They are sweet. They also taste fishy. Disgusting. And they smell gross. If I could give it less than 0 stars, I would. If I could take back that experience, I would. I would go back about 30 seconds and not do this. Just don't do it, please. For the love of all things holy, just don't do it. I will never forget this experience. I can't wash this taste out of my mouth fast or deep enough. I don't even think wild birds or animals will eat this. Maybe the feral cats will eat it. You want to try one, Anna?
Sure.
How about that second one there?
This one, this one right here.
The second one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, 1 star. Says, if I could take 1 star, I had to give him back. This can't be FDA approved. No.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to
Just say stuff.
Oh,
just
what
say
is it?
Stuff.
Oh, is there something wrong?
Just say stuff.
Is there like a bad word?
Just say stuff.
Yeah, just say stuff. Improv.
It says, this stuff tastes like dried cat food with follow-up of swamp water. And honestly, the cat food is better than this junk.
Wow.
But keep
Yeah.
going.
Spare your taste buds and money, people. If you're thinking about doing it, don't. And it says 3 people found this helpful.
Okay.
Okay.
Don't do that one because
No. 3 stars. Worth trying. These are, as you would expect, a dry, fishy flavor with the sweet seasoning they coated them in, paired with a strong calcium boost. Like it is crazy to think you're just chewing some crab shell till it's swallowable. There isn't much crab flavor as these tiny guys had little to no meat inside. The claws were enjoyable because they seemed to have a balance from the most flavor to shell ratio. But the body itself is mostly chewing just shell. The flavor isn't fantastic, but I've had way worse experiences with packaged seafood. The experience is worth it if you're adventurous, but don't let it be the first Asian snack you try.
that wasn't a weird voice.
Let's see. I read this one this morning. It's weird. This guy says, got what I paid for. Guys, don't. I thought it looked good, but just don't. Outer layer is far too sweet. And if you can get past that, then you will deeply regret it once you taste the rest. It's one of the worst things I've ever eaten. But if you have an autistic son, he may like them. I gave the rest to a heavily autistic guy, and he ate them all and enjoyed them. Like, what? What are you talking about, dude? You just walk up to someone on the street.
There you go.
Yeah.
Eat some crabs.
Okay, how about this one, Anna? With the pukey face. Here.
The whole title for it is just a pukey face. It says, first thing is, I'm not trying to come off disrespectful anyway. I wanted to get into trying Asian snacks. I've been these for a long time because I like crabs, so why not? When they arrived, it smelled like polluted ocean through the packaging, and I couldn't even swallow it. Immediately gagged. Should have checked the review before purchasing it. Did only have 1 star. Wanted to rate it 0 stars, but Amazon won't let me. 2 people found this helpful.
1 star. Not for me. I don't know what I expected, but the fishy, crabby taste is really overwhelming. If you like that, then you will like this.
That's it?
That's
That
it.
was the whole review? That's weird. That was very short. This is... I can't read the end of this one. This one has 4 stars. And this person, their name is Common Sense. And it says, it is from the sea. I don't know why people are so surprised that it tastes or smells fishy. It's literally baby crabs. What did you expect it to taste and smell like? Flowers? It's obviously like processed crab. Come on, people. Let's BFFR. You guys know what BFFR is. B for real. Let me see. About I like this one. Let me read this one. This is from Jenny. She says, man, oh man. Well, I'm always up for trying new things. My husband and I are always looking to try new foods. But this one, whoo, wee boy. The taste is like none other I've tried. Very fishy smell as soon as you open the bag. Very crunchy, but a real fishy taste. And this was just not our thing. Our French bulldog likes them. Not for the faint of heart.
They just turned them into a treat for their French bulldog.
Thank you guys for the super stickers. Thank you, Tina and Karen.
That's what it did.
How about, let me find you one, Anna. Make sure it doesn't have any swear words. Here, do Carlos's review. Not good.
1 star. Verify purchase. Not good. I like to give items a try even after looking at bad reviews. However, this is one of those things you shouldn't bother trying. Trust the reviews. It's not good. It smells like a zoo and taste how it smells. People found this helpful.
It smells like a zoo. It tastes how it smells.
Scroll down, there is one below Carlos.
Okay. Almost threw up. Almost threw up by Sebastian. Never buying again. Just like every other review said was true. Did not like it one bit. Thought the reviews were lies, but it's true. Never buy these. Save yourselves.
Ew, expired crab shells. I think that's about it for that one. Let's find one of the other reviews. Let's see. So I think there's some reviews for some. How do you say it? Do you say Haribo or Haribo? The gummy bears.
Haribo.
Haribo. Mm-hmm. Sugar-free gummy bears, 5-pound bag.
5-pound bag.
I love that.
Bag. This has 20,668 reviews. Wow.
Find us some 1, 2, or 3 star reviews.
Okay, I'll look for the low reviews.
Filters for the worst.
Are they all bad?
Okay, this one's a novel. Are you ready for this? All right, let me show you. I'm going to show you guys what we're reviewing here.
Let me see.
So this is for the 5-pound bag of gummy bears, right? You guys have pretty much everybody's had that before, right? Gummy bears?
Not 5-pound bag.
Not a 5-pound bag, no.
Just regular gummy bears.
But
I've had a 0.7222234 pound bag.
if you go to the 1-star reviews, the very first one, what happened? Hold on, I gotta go back into the reviews. The very first one is by Jeffrey. 1 star, says the title is "Hell Holds No Surprises for Me Anymore." This is a cautionary tale. And unlike most of the other reviews on this product, this is a true story, and its authenticity can be qualified by a small news item that appeared in the Toronto Star's local news section during the month of April in 2013, much to my chagrin. I would consider myself a prudent man, not given to bouts of outspokenness or craving attention, and certainly not one to rock the boat. On any given day, I can be found reading a crime novel on a park bench in the middle of the city, soaking in the opulence of nature while nibbling on my tuna fish sandwiches and fending off the voracious gulls and squirrels that threaten to spoil my repose. This is me, law-abiding and introspective, which is why it came as a shock to me to find myself incarcerated because of the devil's confectionery, Satan's sweet meat, Lucifer's lozenges, the horror that is known as Haribo sugar-free gummy bears. I'll set the scene. It was late winter, early spring in Toronto, and the city had just been digging itself out from a late season snowstorm. I was heading to Pearson International Airport for a red-eye flight to Amsterdam in order to give the Dutch arm of our company some training on the new software that had been installed. I'm deliberately being vague to prevent my place of work from being linked in any way to the incident that occurred. I had just finished packing, checking the time, and found I was running late. My flight was at 7:10 p.m., and it was now almost 5 p.m. Cursing softly, I ran out to the car and threw my bags in the trunk, hitting the gas a little harder than usual in my haste to make it to the long-term parking lot as soon as possible. Luckily, traffic was light on the 401, and I made it to the airport in record time, but knew that the chances of making my flight were still at risk if I didn't use my time wisely. I hadn't eaten since lunch, and I was feeling a bit hungry, my stomach rumbling loudly in protestation, which caused me to look around at the other travelers rushing past me in the busy terminal, mortified that my bodily noises might be heard by others. I briskly checked my watch and decided that I had just enough time to grab a quick snack before going through the baggage check and security, and we'd get something more substantial once I was checked through security. I spotted a vending machine nestled in a relatively low traffic corner of the terminal and rushed over, already pulling out my credit card and mentally assessing what I had a craving for, so as to save time interacting with the machine. My eyes scanned the colorful array of confection quickly, coming to rest on a tantalizing, rainbow-colored bag of gummy bears with the simple white and red logo, Haribo, emblazoned across the bag in what appeared to be a slightly tweaked Helvetica rounded font. Now, I'd like to pause here in the story for a moment to underscore the importance of making proper choices. I was hungry. When you're hungry, you should eat food. Food is defined as a nutritious substance that people consume to maintain life. That is what food is. These days, the definition of the word food has been bad word, and the meaning has been broadened to include veritably any material that can be digested or rather chewed and swallowed without causing death or severe illness. Haribo sugar-free gummy bears are not food. They aren't even from this planet. I imagine their origins being conceived in a boardroom and held by a top team of creative pain administrators with senior level demons rubbing their hands together in ghoulish delight as Hell's chief chemist slowly lifts the veil on their new creation. The point here being, I made a very, very, very poor choice. I pushed the button and the vending machine ejected the brightly colored bag onto my awaiting hands. I had always liked gummy bears. They were bright, but rather innocuous. They weren't overly sweet, so as to become cloying. And of course, each candy came in the visage of a rather happy, docile bear, reminiscent of the picture one's mind's eye holds of all anthropomorphic bears from Yogi to Winnie. The way I figured it, I was taking a bit of a holiday from life so I could relax my regimented daily schedule to allow for some frivolity, playfulness. After all, I was going to be in Amsterdam come morning with 16 hours to kill before I had to be training the Dutch employees, and maybe I could take a trip down one of the coffee shops in the red light district and really let my hair down. No, I wouldn't do that. I would see that area of the city from the bus as I went to the hotel where I would eat at the hotel restaurant and drink sparkling water, so I'd better enjoy the gummy bears, my one extravagance to commemorate my break from routine. I joined the queue in the KLM line, which was mercifully short, most likely because all the passengers for my flight had already been checked through, as the flight was scheduled to depart in an hour. I checked my watch again, frowned, and absentmindedly opened the bag of Haribo sugar-free gummy bears and began to munch on them as the line slowly advanced. To be fair, they tasted fine, just like any other manufacturer's brand of the colorful candy, and they were sugar-free to boot. This is what made the whole incident that followed so baffling. If they had tasted off or different, I most likely wouldn't have continued to shovel them into my mouth absent-mindedly while daydreaming about what I would order to eat from room service in my hotel in Amsterdam. As I gave the attendant my e-ticket and she weighed my bags, the first of the pains began in my stomach. I thought nothing of it at first, chalking it up to the fact that I needed something more substantial than gummy worms to tackle my hunger. But over the course of the next 5 minutes, the shooting pain began to come in more rapid succession. At this point, I had my boarding pass printed, and I was rubbing my stomach a little. I proceeded to security. I briefly entertained the thought of trying to find a restroom before going through security, but at that point my discomfort was manageable and I didn't think it would get any worse, certainly not within the amount of time it would take to clear security. I joined the line and started fishing for my passport to present to the agent checking tickets. I felt a thin sheen of sweat break out on my forehead and underarms, and my features flushed for a moment as a wave of heat washed over me. I didn't pay it much heed, as going through security always caused me great anxiety, and chalked it up to pre-flight jitters. It was only as I stood face to face with that agent and handed her my passport and ticket that I had a glimpse of the agony that was about to begin. It felt like time rippled for a moment, as if my consciousness buckled, so intense was the pain that fired through my bowels. I grimaced spastically and emitted a low moan and felt myself take an involuntary step sideways. Stars shot through my head briefly and my vision blurred and then snapped back into focus. The agent was staring at me with slight consternation and asked me if I was all right. I pulled myself together, stood up straight, and declared that I was fine, mortified that I had had a lapse of decorum, not only in public, but at the security clearance in an airport. As I fumbled off my belt to go through the metal detector, the pain in my stomach increased, and I practically had to sit on the floor to take my shoes off, terrified of what would happen if I bent at the middle to do it. It was becoming increasingly more evident to me that this wasn't just a stomachache. No, this was something much worse. As a child, I had a bout of diarrhea after a trip to Mexico with my family. I remember the feeling of nausea that swept through me before my child self had surrendered to the gas pains and parked myself on the toilet for an hour, going until I felt like I didn't have any bones left. And that was how I was feeling now, with several key differences. The pain was worse. The sense of an impending bowel movement was so formidable, it gave me temporary amnesia. And it took all of my willpower, all of it, to clench my butt cheeks together to prevent my sphincter from exploding. A sudden shock of pain racked my body, and I half wondered if I was going to give birth to the Tasmanian devil. The crazy fever-induced image of said cartoon animal chasing Bugs Bunny through the splashy volcanic kettle that was my stomach caused me to elicit a short, maniacal bark of laughter as I approached the metal detector, a wild, distant look in my eyes, sweat now beginning to pour off my long-distance runner in Kenya, off of me like a long-distance runner in Kenya. The security agent on the other side of the detector shot a quick glance over to her coworker, who narrowed his eyes and made a subtle movement toward his holster. My breathing became uneven as I entered the metal detector, and I realized with alarm that I had taken off my socks without even registering it, and one of my shirt tails was untucked in the front. I held my breath, my eyes bulging dangerously from my head as the machine scanned me. As I shakily moved forward towards the agent for a pat down, my stomach began to elicit sounds that can only be described as otherworldly. It started off sort of bubbling, like a sound heard from afar, and it grew in pitch and intensity at an alarming rate. My jaw dropped in shock as what I can only describe as the sound of an agonized, wailing alley cat in heat, with a persistent Doppler effect added to its voice, emitted from some nether region of my intestines. The officer's eyes widened in alarm, and she kept her eyes glued to my stomach as she thoroughly patted me down. As she reached my shins, I felt my innards suddenly expand and plummet towards my rectum. With cat-like reflexes, I squeezed shut with what seemed like nanoseconds to spare, and I knew that if I didn't get to the bathroom immediately, I would shit myself. With a Herculean effort and all the strength that I could muster, I forced my butt cheeks together, knowing that one false move would open the floodgates. I began to walk like a duck, trying to remain as inconspicuous as possible, not even caring now what other people were seeing in front of them. A disheveled, barefoot 40-year-old businessman, red-faced and bulgy-eyed, sweating profusely, shaking slightly, and walking without bending his knees. With single-minded intensity, I grabbed my carry-on, my shoes, my socks out of the plastic tub that passed the x-ray inspection, and without putting anything back on, I turned on my heels with the intention of finding the nearest restroom and slowly dying there in one squirt at a time. But that's not what happened. I turned to go and found myself staring at 3 armed agents who stopped me and asked if I would follow them. Why? What's the matter? I stammered, wincing slightly as the act of speech seemed to strain the tenuous and extremely fragile truce I had negotiated between my bowels and the tempest that raged within. I had to go to the bathroom right now, I pleaded. Just follow us, please, they said, leaving no room for argument. The other travelers clearing the security check stared with curiosity and revulsion at the spectacle unfolding before them, whispering amongst themselves and hurrying to pack up their belongings and get as far away from me as possible, no doubt assuming that the airport had nabbed some sort of domestic terrorist. If I hadn't been feverishly trying to hold back the eruption of Mount Vesuvius, I likely would have died of shame. Vesuvius? With each step I took toward my room that they ushered me into, I felt that my legs would give way. I marveled at how strong the human will could be, marveled at what was essentially patching a hole in the Hoover Dam with bubblegum could actually be sustained indefinitely. Maybe I would make it through this ordeal after all. The room they brought me to was an examination room. I had pretty much stopped registering details of my environment as my consciousness closed off all but the absolutely necessary functions, breathing, ability to walk. But I snapped back to reality when I heard the snap of rubber. The slow dawning of realization poked through my agony and stoic resolve as I turned to face an agent donning rubber gloves. Sir, we're going to have to perform a cavity search on you. A young, fresh-faced agent stared in a firm but emotionless voice. His short-cropped blonde hair was immaculate, and for a crazy moment, I wondered if he was an actor, and this was all some sort of elaborate practical joke done to amuse bored kids watching YouTube. He must have taken my tortured silence for resistance because he looked at me sharply and said, "Lower your pants, please," and faced the desk. Panic started to grip me in its icy grasp, and the sudden adrenaline threatened to destroy the hold I have on things and rend me in two. I inhaled sharply and with a pained gasp doubled my efforts. "Sir, please," I begged, deferring to a kid in an act of desperation. "I have to go to the bathroom. You can follow me into the stall if you need to, but I had some bad Haribo sugar-free gummy bears and now I feel like..." But they stopped listening and they smirked at each other. Two of the other agents, a tall, dark-haired female and a shorter, balding fat man, looked away from me, and I could see them shaking as they stifled their laughs. "Sir, put your hands on the desk." I began to protest, but a fresh shock of pain forced me to stop and lean on the table for support. As a howl rose from my stomach, something between the dying moans of a woolly mammoth and the sound of bubble wrap popping, I exhaled shakily. My focus began to narrow. I rallied for the final battle, shaking uncontrollably and sweat literally raining down on the tabletop in front of me. I turned to face the wall and heard in a meek, childlike voice pleading from somewhere in the room, "Please." It said it again and then again, "Please." From somewhere within me, my mind recognized that this sound came from me, although my consciousness had now begun to separate from my body, and I held my breath and prayed to God for strength. "He probably has drugs or something up there," the female guard said. As a part of me that hadn't escaped into the ether yet acknowledged that she was behind me to my left. "Look at him." Some of this I can't read. "Please, please God, please God, please God," I whispered in a desperate, maniacal mantra, not even aware of my surroundings anymore. I felt like I was lost in a fog with half-snatched images and sounds filtering through to create a nonsensical version of reality. Another volley of pain tore through me and I involuntarily leaned forward over the desk. My focus completely narrowed to now a spot on the wall 2 feet in front of me. A curious imperfection in the what seemed to be a whitewashed stone wall. It was a dark blotch, about 5 millimeters long, shaped like a smiling bear. A yellow dancing bear. No, a green bear. No, red. It was the colors of the rainbow. My God, it was beautiful. It just took something as simple as a slight breeze to trigger Armageddon. That's all. No trumpets, no fanfare, no fire raining from the heavens, no dogs and cats living together in harmony, no finger on the button, no prophet to predict it, no nothing. As I stared at the rainbow bear, smiling and dancing in front of me, my mouth agape, drooling, eyes glazed and bloodshot, face coated with a sheen of sweat, I heard the softest sound, an exhalation from the young agent behind me, and then at the same instant, the warm air of his breath feather across my bottom. For just a moment, maybe less, maybe a split second, even a nanosecond, I felt the presence of God there with me in that room as neurons began to misfire at a blinding rate. Nerve ending bristled, muscles twitching reflexively. I stood on the brink with one foot hovering over the edge, and then taking a step, I found myself plummeting. With a sound like an extra large plastic ketchup bottle being run over by a Mack truck. Everything released. The pressure of the blast pushed me into the desk. The legs of the desk screeched as they scraped across the floor. My body remained rigid for a moment, and I experienced a relief that can only be described as, My eyes rolled back in my head, my tongue rolled out of my head, and I emitted a low, sustained groan that grew in pitch as the torrent pushed its way out of my body. Tremors racked my body, and I must have looked like a fish out of water with an endless stream of stuff flying out of its butt. Other sounds and sensations started to filter in as my consciousness began to materialize once more. The muffled scream of a dungeon filled with prisoners near death radiated from my stomach. The rushing sound of liters of liquid trying to escape through an aperture too small to accommodate it all. And at the same time, the omnipresent sound of chunky liquid spattering on a hard surface with a great force. The high-pitched screaming of a woman's voice calling out to God. Another voice sobbing uncontrollably, imploring to make it stop. And my own monotone wail. When my ordeal had eventually run its course, I was left panting for breath and wobbly-legged, half crying, half laughing with relief. Barely lucid and feeling as though I had birthed an elephant. I felt like someone had poured chili sauce all over my bottom and then sent in a colony of fire ants to eat it. Through my sobs, I heard the sound of dripping, like when the sprinklers are eventually turned off after an office fire, or after a thunderstorm when the willow that overhangs the pond continues to rain down long after the sky has stopped. From behind me, the sobbing continued, and I heard someone trying to speak into a walkie-talkie with nonsensical words that were all the man could speak, which sounded like the ravings of a lunatic. With great relief, I pulled myself off the table, legs trembling, stomach eliciting one last sound, a long, prolonged gas bubble that eerily resembled a pig. I slowly turned my head to survey the devastation, and in that instant, if I had had a pencil or some other sharp object, I probably would have gouged my eyes out in revulsion. And the smell was enough to drive a man insane. The stench of rotting potatoes mixed with sulfur and ammonia, cooked in a broth of chicken feces and left to age for 2 weeks on a yeasty stew at the bottom of a French outhouse. Wow, that's pretty descriptive. He's quite a writer. After half a whiff of this ghoulish brine, I immediately stopped breathing through my nose, but the taste was to remain at the back of my throat for months to come. The young agent had taken the brunt of the foul witch's brew, and at first I couldn't process what I was seeing. I thought somehow the young blonde kid had been spirited away and replaced by a brown golem or an ATV rider that's the better part of the day driving through mud. With some degree of compartmentalization, I came to understand that for some unfathomable reason, this kid hadn't moved or hadn't been able to move through the entire deluge. He had weathered the entire assault head on, like some sort of hero from a Greek mythology. I tried to comprehend how he must be feeling, what he must be going through psychologically, but it became evident very quickly that he had become very broken. No doubt forced so deeply within himself once the fire hose had turned on that there was little to no hope of him ever coming back from it. Certainly not without extensive psychotherapy or a lobotomy. I looked beyond his quivering, catatonic, crouched form to see a perfect outline of him cut out on the white wall behind him. Either side filled in with a dripping, opaque layer of alternately pulpy and runny stew. I noticed 2 quivering masses at either extremes of the room and realized they were in humanoid form, although the caterwauling that was coming from these broken creatures was just blubbering gibberish. Needless to say, I missed my flight. The next week is a blur. I have vague recollections of an army of hazmat-clad figures looming in through the brown landscape of the soiled room, the slopping sounds of rubber boots, squelching in puddles, uncontrollable wailing, and animal-like sounds issuing from the mouths of creatures that have been traumatized beyond their capacity and being put back together. The complete loss of sensation from my waist down as I rolled through the room on a waterproof gurney. I had apparently expelled every available drop of water from my body that it was possible to sustain life within such a short period of time. All of my clothes were incinerated in the hospital's crematorium. And the soiled bags of Haribo sugar-free gummy bears was never recovered. This is my story. It is inconceivable to think that this kind of product could be sold legally and be misrepresented as food. I was lucky. I survived. But as for the families of the survivors and the survivors themselves, they will forever live with the trauma of the events that took place at Pearson International Airport on that snowy day in April 2013.
That took about an hour to read, but
That was way longer than I was expecting.
I don't think you can really top that one.
But yeah, I don't think there's anything
That's like
better. That's
yeah,
like
that's it.
that man wrote a book.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if he had made it onto the plane?
Oh boy, that's a miracle. Someone was looking out for the rest of those people that day.
The heck? Wow.
That's amazing. It's
My
disgusting,
turn.
but it's amazing.
He says it's true.
Yeah.
I'm so skeptical.
Well, he says it's in the news.
He says it's in the newspaper. But I
Wow.
wonder if he wrote the story and the paper picked it up because it's brilliant writing.
Yeah.
It's very descriptive. Wow. Michael says this must be what it's like when you push Stephen King down a hill with a typewriter. It keeps writing. Tina says I need to find that review. It's just Google Haribo sugar-free gummy bears 5 pounds, and then sort the reviews to the 1-star reviews. It's like the first one. Oh, can't. We've already been on for 40 minutes.
Yeah, that took a half an hour. Right there.
yeah, that took a half an hour.
Sorry about that, guys.
No,
I wasn't.
That was definitely at least a novella.
You should have read it off the camera.
There's a lot of long ones. I think people trying to keep
Outdo
up,
each other.
but
Just keep
yeah.
up in the ante.
Here's a shorter one. My life is ruined.
You read that.
See what experience that person had with gummy bears.
All right, My Life is Ruined by D. I work for a large company. We had a secret Santa thing for Christmas. I pulled the one guy I hated in the office, so naturally, I wanted him to suffer. Because I'm an awful person. So I get these along with his favorite sports mug for presentation. He opened the package and immediately popped a handful into his mouth. Moments later, his bald head was glistening with a fine coat of sweat, and his stomach was making sounds not heard since the shooting of The Exorcist. Standing across the room, I was casually watching as he was just starting with a customer and couldn't excuse himself. Moments later, he doubled over, hitting his head on the desk, knocking himself out as his bowels evacuated through his dockers, shooting a fine spray of what I can only assume is a mix of plasma, hellfire, and skunk musk. Not I, my on the wall, but the 3 coworkers next to him. They each in turn stared in shock as they were coated with a mist of evil.
Oh.
Then the smell hit, causing a chain reaction of vomiting eerily similar to the pie contest in Stand By Me. Soon, customers and employees alike were projectile vomiting. Long story short, I have to change some details for legal reasons. But I'm up on attempted murder with WMD, several counts of aggravated assault from the spray and vomit fight, and he is in a coma from hitting his head. So it's not all bad.
Why are these so violent to people? What is it about these gummy bears?
Don't get them.
Yeah,
matter what happens.
Well, if you get them, you're gonna be getting them to get somebody else, I think.
Wow. Okay, let's look up something else because clearly this is the outcome of eating these gummy bears.
Doesn't end
seems
well.
to be the same.
Here, let me take a drink. That first one really was like a novel, half an hour long.
I know. We'll do one more and then we'll say goodnight to everybody. It's funny how many people take the time to write such fantastic reviews. How about, should we do glitter or should we do the Swiss Army knife giant?
Swiss Army knife giant.
Okay. Let me make sure I can find it. There we go. Oh wait, I don't know if I don't see it. It might be gone because these are like older. This is like an older list.
So let's do glitter.
Glitter.
Yeah, let me see if I can.
There's
find
probably
it.
some good stories with
Let's see if
glitter.
I can find that one.
Some long 6-hour novels about getting glitter in a person's nose, and then I don't know.
All right, let's see.
That same guy probably wrote up a whole other novel about glitter.
About the glitter.
Yeah.
I hope so.
We can find. See what we can find in here about the glitter.
1 star. Find something 1 star, even if it's 1 review. Or if they're all like, "It's so amazing! I used it for 600 crafts."
No, this doesn't look. This is just people complaining about it being open in the packaging.
Oh.
I don't know if we're gonna top that
Yeah.
gummy bear review.
It's all downhill from
It's all
here.
down, yeah. It's all like subpar.
Yeah. It's kind of
reviews.
anticlimactic.
What other things are there? Give us 2 more options of stuff that you
Um,
look up that actually has 1-star reviews about not complaining that the package is open.
Uranium ore.
Uranium ore.
What
That's not good.
is it?
They allow that? They could sell that?
I don't think so. It's got to be a toy, right?
I hope so.
Here it is. Here's the listing. $50, $60.
When did I ever get to see all this?
Oh, calm down.
Thanks,
Looks like this.
Hide your face.
You think that's real? I don't know. Let me see the description. What's it say? On the top, it says, it's a naturally occurring radioactive material. Caution, wash hands after handling. Avoid contact with eyes, nose, or mouth. Do not ingest, inhale, or bring in contact with food. Geiger counter not included. Sample size will vary. What? It says it is a radioactive ore specimen. They sell this on Amazon. This can't be real.
Not good.
This can't be real.
Let's do something else.
Disposal. U.S. federal regulations do not require special requirements to dispose of norm material. However, local city and state regulations may differ.
Okay. Thanks for sharing.
I don't know. Let's see. I'm going to take a peek. What do they think? A new kind of cool. I woke up one morning and thought, what can I do to raise my coolness level? What better way to do that than own some uranium? It's safe, shipping was fast, and now I'm a little more cool than before. Awesome little natural product.
What? Find some 1 star.
There's no way. Is this really real?
It would say if it wasn't real. It's real. They can't sell it as something that's not.
Okay, this is a 1-star review. Might not be what you're expecting. This item is definitely radioactive. Oh. It's well packaged, arrived quickly, and I found no contamination on any of the content. With that being said, taking readings from multiple sides, the highest count I could get was around 115. The background was about 28, so that puts it at 87 for the ore. It's important to note that my Geiger counter can't detect alpha rays, but given that the ore supposedly had beta and gamma ray count of 1573, according to the certificate of measured radiation, something seems a little off. I don't think the company is being malicious, but I suspect the measurement is being taken before it's divided up into smaller pieces, which can greatly change the count for your respective piece. That's purely speculation, though, and should not be taken as fact. Just know that you might not get a good sample. Why are we vying for a good sample?
You would read it. You should have read it in like a nerdy voice.
Yeah, there was not enough radiation for me. I require at least 1,574 radiation.
Rads.
Give me one.
You want to read one?
Yeah, you read a 50-year-long novel,
Yeah.
and he read a 20-year-long novel. And
Yeah. Let me see. I'm trying to find one that's. I mean, these people are just flat out serious about this ore. Like they're not funny because.
Well, if you're gonna buy something radioactive, you didn't plan. You know, it's not like a party favor type
something else.
Gag gift.
This thing's weird radioactive thing is
weird. Here, read this one. It says it's not as cool as you think.
3 stars. It says, it's not as cool as you think. You open the can, and really all you see is a boring piece of rock in a plastic bag. The warnings that come with it freak you out enough not to want to open the bag or touch it, not for fear of getting too close to it, but so the uranium dust isn't absorbed by your skin or sucked into your lungs.
Ugh.
After a few days, you start to wonder how little is little when it comes to dosages of radiation. Ultimately, you think about getting rid of it, but figure trying to throw it out, bury it, or toss it off in a bridge will just come back to haunt you when someone finds a 3-eyed fish.
You stuck?
This can that has somehow.
Go to the next sentence.
Yeah, just keep going.
Finally, you pack it in a bunch of other metal cans and put it in the furthest corner of your garage or tool shed and hope for the best. One day I will take it back out and attempt to grow tobacco. 49 people found this helpful.
49 people? What? How?
Okay. Makes bad pillow stuffing. Honestly, not a very good pillow stuffing. I bought a whole bunch of these to make a pillow, and it's not very soft at all.
Of course.
I could look past that if I didn't have constant headaches now. I'm not really sure if it's related, but I've also been having awful nightmares every night where I'm on some random ship called the USS Eldridge or something. Never heard of it, but everyone on the ship is like melded in the walls and floor and screaming in constant agony. And I try to get off the ship, but my legs are stuck in the floor and burning. I guess if I have to be fair, I won't rate it too low because it's probably my own fault for misinterpreting the softness of this product.
82 people found this helpful.
Oh, here, I've got one for you, baby. I've got one for you to do.
Me?
No, for our daddy.
I want to do that.
You can do one of these too. It's a toy, but I just think he might find it. He might find it interesting.
Toy?
Here, I'll show you guys what it is. Anna. See those? Anybody know what those are?
No. They're just air. They're selling air in a bottle.
Canned air.
It is so compressed there, but it's not. Just sell a bottle.
It's under the 2 stars. Oh, it's not. It must not be the same listing. It doesn't have the same review I was looking up. Well, that's disappointing. Well, you can read it off of here. No, you can't.
What?
It was for Hulk Smash Hands.
No.
But somehow it's the same picture. I wonder if they deleted his review. Oh well. Oh well. What are you gonna do?
There another toy?
Well, there's probably lots of toys, but we'd have to dig through them for a while to figure out find out where the good ones are. Well, it's time to say goodnight anyway. You gotta get ready for bed, girl.
Woo! Wait.
Yeah, it is late. Okay. Tomorrow we were going to post a vlog of everything that went on during the week, but because we're still getting used to the new schedule, we didn't do any filming. So there's no vlog, but there is a sub live. So we'll see you guys tomorrow for sub live.
And I got my zoo.
I'm in the process of tearing apart Anna's playroom. So I may be sitting here amongst a mountain of toys for sub live tomorrow.
Filled to the brim of the top.
Oh, and then tomorrow is Zoom. That's right. Anna's hosting Zoom.
Yes. So, guys, Mommy, you need to remember to make
I sent Sharon the paper.
Yeah,
so
but
tell
you gotta
them
make
what
a
they
new
need
channel
to.
on Mighty for the homework.
Well, no, not. Just tell Sharon what she needs to know for tonight, if anything, and then they can get ready for tomorrow.
Like right now.
Just real quick, tell her what she needs to know for tonight
What
for
you
them to
sent.
do for tomorrow before the Zoom.
So they have to do the job survey and the job selector. They have to do those two so I can pick out their job. And it has to be done before tomorrow night because I need to go through them all except for the job surveys and then do all that stuff. And then there's also you're going to need to let them know that they'll also need their detective stuff from before. The only ones who will need that is you, Sharon, Hillary, and Pete. For a couple reasons, but I'll tell you that on the Zoom.
Okay, so you guys know what you got to do. It's not too late to get in if anybody wants a unicorn job from Anna and wants to get in on all of this homework and paperwork and TSA reports and whatever else she's got going on. It's not too late. You just come over to the community and join at the family level, and you can be a part of this craziness too. Pete's
Gotta
like,
make
what?
Yeah, so just Pete and Hillary and Sharon are the only ones who will need the stuff that we had go, our detective stuff. We'll also just need a piece of paper and a pencil.
Okay. All right, you guys have your marching orders. Say goodnight to everybody.
Night, everybody.
We'll see you guys tomorrow. If we don't see you tomorrow, if you're not on a sub live, then we'll be back Monday to hang out with everybody.
Woo-hoo.
Bye.